It's a great time in college basketball and in the NBA. 10-game slate. We just ran through a couple of the biggest matchups. In college hoops tonight, Joe, you want to talk about bounce-back spots. Both teams that will face off tonight in Lawrence, Kansas, desperately need that. Iowa State was a 14.5-point home favorite inside Hilton Coliseum, a place known for magic, on Saturday against K-State, a team that is wildly disappointing this year. They got beat 80-61. But keep an eye on the Wildcats. They've won 3 straight. They've covered in 6 in a row. Just something to pay attention to. Kansas held a 21-point lead late in the opening half in Waco against Baylor. They closed as a slight road dog, but felt like maybe that line wasn't necessarily justified. The Jayhawks blew that lead. They got doubled up in the second half. Baylor scored 60 points. KU only scored 30. They blew their largest lead in program history. And believe you me, they've been playing basketball for a long time in Lawrence. So, Joe, both of these teams hoping to respond tonight inside the fog in Allen Fieldhouse. KU a 2.5-point favorite. That total on the rise, now standing at 146 and a hook.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable we're at this point in the season with these two teams. I mean, first of all, we've already seen Kansas lose not 1, but 2 games at Fog Allen this year. They haven't lost 3 games at home, Ben, since 2000. In fact, they got blown out the first time these two teams played at Iowa State. Now it's a revenge spot for Kansas, but they got to be talking to themselves here at this particular point, wondering where did it all go wrong. So are we to believe that, number one, Iowa State is going to sweep Kansas in the season series, which they haven't done since 2016? Are we expected to believe that Kansas is going to lose a 3rd home game at Fog Allen since 2000? I'll tell you this, it's become quite obvious with Iowa State. If they're not hitting threes, they ain't winning. And they're not built defensively like they've been in a couple of years past. Great, very well coached. But when you go, what, Ben? They go 5 of 26 over the last 2 outings? That's why they lost both games. I would expect the Jayhawks to bring it in this game at home at Fog Allen. To me, I think this is a dead under, by the way. I think defense is going to be the name of the game tonight.
The thriller in Tucson last week, Caleb Love from 65 feet away, forcing overtime. Iowa State loses outright. But in their prior 2 games as a dog, perfect 2-0 against the spread. The Cyclones have dropped 2 in a row. Kansas, Joe, 6-4 in the Big 12. When they lost 8 Big 12 games last year, that was their most since the late 80s when they last missed the NCAAB tournament. All right, final minute and a half of this show. It's time now for a best bet for your Monday night to build up the bankroll for Super Bowl Sunday. It is time now for Bye, Bye, Bye. Geroneri, my friend, best bet for this Monday evening is where and what game?
Yeah, so I'm going to go to college basketball, Ben. I'm going to take a look at, and it's a big number, and I don't care, but I think Virginia's in trouble on the road tonight against Pitt here. I think Pitt, who is clearly on the bubble, and in an ACC that's not great this year. I mean, North Carolina's got 10 losses. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Florida State's terrible. Notre Dame's terrible. Miami's terrible. Virginia's even worse, and Louisville's already lost 2 starters to injury for the season. So I think that Pitt has a pretty good opportunity to take out some frustration tonight. I'll lay it with them at home against Virginia.
Big number, 13.5, but I agree, Joe. 2 teams in college basketball are covering an 80% of their games or more this year. San Jose State and Houston Christian from the Southland. Plus 7.5 for Houston Christian tonight against Nichols. That does it for a Monday. We'll see you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern time on the Grid.